So I just got After Effects, so I figured I'd show it off with this bit right here. Oh no! A spoopy monster! Was it good? Was it good? I did a bunch of takes. I bet it was great. Bet it knocked your socks off and put them on your head and you look like a bunny girl. That's how good it was. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Ryan Reacts. Today we're checking out another suggestion video, and that suggestion is by the Angel AG Pani, who writes, "Oh Ryan, I just recently discovered a really nice little emotional video that I guarantee will not ruin anything in your past, present, or future." Was this before or after the crack and hookers jokes I made about him? I think before, so I trust him. He wouldn't goof me. Actually, you don't even have to react to it if you don't want to. I just wanted to share it with you. Hope you enjoy it, mate. And that video he suggested was Five Nights at Freddy's: The Story of Scott Cawthon by Video Game Storytime. But yeah, I really look forward to this video. I am an absolute sucker for kind of like documentaries or histories about like certain areas. Like I watched way too many wrestling documentaries, and I wish there was more talking about like game creators or like people in that craft, because I think it'd be really interesting. Unless it's not interesting. Because I think Miyamoto is like, hey guys, let's make a game about a plumber. Okay. And they all high-fived, and that's the story of Mario. But of course, folks, if you'd like to check out the original link and more from original content creator, the link will be in the description. Let's see what Scott old boy's backstory is. Listen, I don't care what his backstory is, as long as I don't find out, well, you know what? Sometimes I like dressing up in the furry costumes and having sex with other people in furry costumes in a pizza parlor while eating pizza. Well, it would explain Chica with her tiny little shorts. I still will never get over that. Playing the game and there's Chica wearing, wow, just a bib and tiny pink shorts. I don't know about that. I miss Chica. I miss Derpy Chica, who she didn't know what the hell she was doing. She's possessed by a freckin' demon, and what did she do? Try to eat some pizza. Now that's my kind of possessed animatronic. Sure, I'm dead, but boy, oh boy, I could go for that Italian crispy pizza, I'll tell you, mwah!
Scott Cawthon was heartbroken.
Because his wife left him for a pizza.
Video game online, and had been hoping that maybe this time he'd have made something that people cared about. The response was not positive.
Oh man, they give him fart clouds?
Been completely ignored by
That's what I think about your game, Scott.
Those who try were less than complimentary.
You dirty skeletons!
One particularly mean review for his game said that the character models were really creepy, like some kind of terrifying animatronic.
I don't know if that's a mean comment or just criticism. You know what I mean?
People thought his work
you always
was
have to define that line.
Children's games. They hadn't seen anything yet.
He said, shaking his fist in a masturbation fashion. I'm gonna get all of you! I'm Scott Cawthon!
Scott Cawthon loved making video games. It had been his creative outlet for years.
I hope so.
16,
I don't want to find out he just wanted to be a
small gaming titles that he'd
owner of a small pizza joint.
Try out. Scott worked hard at game design and found a rhythm that worked well for him. He didn't like to spend years working on the same project, so he found that short, simple titles worked best for his attention span and his sense of accomplishment.
Well, that would explain all his games so
far. A couple of games a year, taking joy in the process of completing a project, and immediately moving the skills that he'd learned onto a brand new title. A lot of Scott's games drew inspiration from his Christian beliefs.
I did know that.
To a certain extent, that these games were a way for him to spread his faith, helping children around the world to learn more about the Bible.
Pause. I have nothing wrong with that statement, but, not about the statement, but everything about this greatest picture ever. Oh, that sheep's face is on his butt. That sheep's face is on his butt. Like they have a. It's great. It's great. To be honest, it honestly could have been a cloud with legs. It could have been a cloud with legs, but that's okay. Second of all, Noah's face. It's breaking me. Even the small eye, big eye say looks really derpy. Like, oh, I want to eat you, you delicious bird. Please come back. Oh God, please, please give me a shirt. Give me a shirt of that Noah's Ark picture, because that is truly the greatest picture I've ever seen. Oh, well, I also have a pause. I should mention it. Knowing that now, it makes sense. Like, one of Scott's biggest, like, criticisms about him is that he would bring out games every year, and I think people took that as laziness, but I like to know that it's just like, that's how he likes making games. But maybe he should have spread them out just a little bit more. I don't know. I personally didn't have any problem, mostly because of the, you know, the price tag. If it was like a $20 game or higher, it'd be different, but they were less than $10 for the most part, so it's just kind of like,
If anything, it was a fun alternative to long hours spent reading from a dusty book. It was a hard thing to describe, this idea that he was gaining inspiration on game design from an unseen force, and there were plenty of people who'd ridicule it, but Scott couldn't help but feel that he was meant to do this. Every time Scott released a game, he'd enjoy a brief period of excitement at seeing how people reacted. After years and years of work, though, he slowly found himself struggling to keep going.
I know that feeling.
Family commitments became greater, as Scott had to balance game creation around a full-time job and time spent with his children. He wasn't as young as he'd once been, and he no longer had the luxury of spending days on end working on his gaming projects. With this drain on his time came greater desperation. Scott was finding it harder and harder to justify the time he was spending on his games when they weren't proving successful and they weren't making any money. For a time, he felt very lonely. He'd spent years attempting to build something that shared God's teachings, if only in his own special way, but he didn't feel like he was getting anything in return. Throughout all this time, he'd always felt that God was pleased with what he was doing, but after so many years, and with so many other pressures on his time, he wasn't sure if he could feel that reassurance anymore. Quite aside from anything else, it was disheartening to see people ignore his games time and time again. What was he doing wrong? Why couldn't anyone see the hard work he'd put into his games? Above all, how in an increasingly busy and crowded online world could he even hope to compete for attention among others? The final straw came when Scott received some hurtful comments from one reviewer. His art style simply didn't make for an enjoyable experience. And so Scott quit. He'd had enough. He had too many other
I really
things
thought
to do,
Oscar was going to come out of there. You
You
better quit! Oh man, that was a hurtful comment, Oscar.
And earning the money he needed to support
you.
them.
He
Time to
clobbered
grow
him
up
with
and
a
face the
keyboard.
facts. He was never going to succeed as a game developer. Except, Scott really couldn't stop himself. He had a passion that drove him, and had been his primary purpose for existing.
Was it a passion, or was it a drive to want to prove that one comment wrong?
He couldn't bring himself to stop thinking of game ideas.
I think it's a
The
bit
more
of
Scott
both.
thought about it, the more he realized that he shouldn't be making games for anyone.
It's
but
truly
himself.
beautiful.
A few negative comments shouldn't be the end of the world, because it really didn't matter what others thought. Whether Scott was making
But I
games
really
for
think it
an
fueled
audience of
him.
millions,
I think
or
it's
whether
safe
he
to
was
say
simply
that,
making
seeing
them for
he
his
made a
own
game
kids,
on that
it didn't
comment.
matter. What mattered was making games. And with that, Scott felt impressed that God was pleased with his decision to continue making games. This time, though,
Mark,
he
it's
got the
spooky,
feeling
bud.
that he should try something different. Maybe there was
Thanks,
a good
bud.
game he could
Thanks,
make
God.
that didn't feature a Christian theme. Scott began thinking more about the negative comments he'd received. If people thought his designs were scary, why not use that? Why not make a simple horror game and see how well that turned out? To Scott's surprise, this was actually a lot of fun, if a bit creepy. A few times while programming, he managed to scare himself, as character models jumped out at times he wasn't expecting.
That's amazing! I didn't know about that! Hey, what if I animate like this? Oh, for frick's sake! Oh, I don't like this game
Five
anymore.
Nights at Freddy's. He felt pleased with the game. He'd got a lot of his frustration out of his system, and made something that wasn't his usual style, but that he could ultimately be proud of.
Which
He
is always
happily
good
launched
for a
the game,
creator,
the
to
same
go
as all
outside
his
their
others,
box and try
and
stuff.
immediately began thinking about his next project.
If
After
that wasn't the
all,
case, I
Scott
wouldn't have
wasn't going
done
to stop
reaction
here.
videos and was
He'd
stuck with
achieved his
Let's
goal of
Plays.
making a new game, and he'd learned that the process of making games were their own reward. Didn't matter what people thought of his attempts at horror. Except,
And then money
well,
rained from the
it didn't matter
sky.
what people thought, but as it turned out, they thought
He
his new
scared
game
a
was pretty good.
shitload of kids.
Scott watched in wonder, and all of the internet exploded with admiration for his little indie game.
Scott's up being a
The
dickhead.
game was an instant smash hit. Finally, everything
smashed
he
the
worked
hopes
towards
of
over
little
the past
children.
decades made sense. He felt like he'd been led to this, and that while he'd had plenty of trials along the way, they'd all been designed to help him succeed in his goal of becoming a world-renowned game developer. Each and every one of us will face moments like Scott did on his darkest day. We'll be encouraged to quit, to give up, and to move on. Sometimes that might be the right thing to do, and it's up to us to spot those moments. But it's important for us all to remember that we can only succeed if we keep going. Above all, we need to push ourselves, not for some great, impossible future, but out of a love of what we create and the skills that we learn. When we can be happy with the process of growing and developing, we'll find that we truly succeed.
Oh boy, that ending hit me a little hard. I can truly say that there have been many times while doing YouTube, I have thought about quitting. But weirdly enough, you want to know something? I'll tell you a little something about myself. Around that time, what inspired me to go back in was, weirdly enough, a Markiplier video where he played a fan game, and it went through his career at the end. It was one of the famous ones he was known for, where he cried at the end, and then a downhill spiral of crying. And I remember watching that, and for some reason it inspired me to continue on. And so I did. And then I think soon after I did reaction videos. And here you go, look at me. My channel's actually growing. People are watching my videos. I'm making a funny memes. And then people... but enough for them to subscribe and maybe click on a like button. But yeah, it's a great example of seeing something where someone has a passion for something and they keep doing it a certain way and it doesn't work. And just having, just changing it up a little bit can make all the difference in the world. It's something that doesn't get brought up very much. Usually people, they go for their dreams and they either succeed or they fail and they never try again. But this video is a nice reminder that just because you failed doesn't mean that you should just give up on what you really want to do. You should either tweak it or see what went wrong and make it better, or just try something different. It might be the one thing that gets you where you need to be. Also, I was gonna say that they didn't bring up that I feel is very important about the Five Nights at Freddy's game. I don't think it would have had the lasting power if it wasn't for that one picture in the back where it explained the backstory. And I feel like if that wasn't in the background, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 would have been just like a normal fad and people wouldn't have talked about it. But because of that little like tidbit, it had a lasting power because people were curious and he hooked them with the story, and it really is what made the franchise. And YouTube. If it wasn't for YouTube, there would be no Five Nights at Freddy's. If it was on like computer, like old computer, no internet, and it was just came out, I don't think it would have lasted. I really don't. I think it would have been another game that would have been, shoveled under time. But because of the YouTube videos and people love watching people get the shit scared out of them, and the backstory, which I think is the number one thing, it made people want to play the next game. And I don't know if franchises really do that. If you think about it, usually when people play a game, they beat it and then they're like, yeah, I'm done with this franchise. Very rarely do you get an ending or something about the story that makes you want to play the next game really bad. Anyways, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very inspirational and a good story to tell people. And you know what's a shame? I feel bad that this channel only has 7,000 subscribers. Almost 8,000, 7,900, but only 7,000, which is such a shame. She has good views on all videos. I really enjoyed the drawings for the story, and you know what? I felt like it was like a book about certain creators, and I really like that. So you know what? I'm gonna subscribe to her channel. You should too. I love moments like this. I love it when I get suggested videos that I end up subscribing and watch the rest of the videos. Anyways, hey, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to subscribe to my channel, leave a like down below, and write a comment on what you would like me to react to next. Now, if you excuse me, I'm probably going to watch the rest of these videos, and, you know, I really want pizza. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to get that pizza. Give me a pizza of that ass. Ha ha! Good joke, right?